Hello, I am Dorgan Kishu, Paladin and Dragon Rider. It's been a little bit since I got on here with Dragon Riders Around the Watch D&D talk. Um, just busy with life, and but also playing D&D. Mostly, I've been playing my group that I run on Discord. We play every 2 or 3 weeks. Everybody hit level 8, and so it's starting to go, in my opinion, a little bit to the next level, the next zone of play becomes, I think, quite different when you start moving, level 8 and beyond. And it's exciting, and we've been playing, for a little while now. So everybody's gotten into, I don't know. There's a rhythm about the group, I think, that's flowing really good right now. One of the players, we have 5 players, and then I run it. One of the players, great player, great guy, huge D&D enthusiast. His schedule slowly started to not work on Sundays when we play, which is a huge loss. I ran his character for a little while, and I should check to see if there's anybody here. Mainly, I'm here to talk to people about D&D in chat, so I'm going to see if everybody's here. Anybody's here. I know I just came on, and I'm a new thing as well. Not. Let's see. No one here yet. Yeah. So also this is going to be on this, but I also upload it to my YouTube channel. Wow, my brain's just not working today. I don't do coffee, so I'm on my own. Yeah, but my social media are down below for my Twitter and for my YouTube, because I do upload whatever videos I do onto YouTube, so that if you weren't here when I went live, then you have some thoughts or questions or whatever about whatever we're talking about on that particular episode, you can reply to my YouTube, and I will get back to you. So yeah, like I said, I played his character for a little while. He had a really great energy, and his character was just kind of out there. So it was but it started to feel a little bit more and more shallow, me playing it, and because he wasn't able to make several sessions in a row, and I finally decided he was a wood elf character, and we were near a forest of wood elves. I decided that he should take a break from adventuring the character and go visit some wood elves, because they were kind of struggling anyway in the city environments and whatnot. But I hope that John can join us. Can rejoin us at some point. I really do. He's great guy, phenomenal player, so there was a session, at least a session or two, that we were feeling kind of sad. I know that one of the characters that my girlfriend Kate plays, was very attached. Her character was very attached to his character, and so that character was grumpy and sad for at least a session or two. And but we're continuing on. We still have 4 players. I have another guy I've thought about. Well, I talked to the group first, but I thought about inviting this other guy in. He's a guy who when I really wanted to run my my 5e module that I'd written. I hadn't ran it since before I published it, and I really wanted to run it because I wanted to see how people what they thought of it. I sold some, but I never heard how people liked it, because most of the sales were on Amazon, and then I don't even know I don't know who they are, because it doesn't tell you who bought them. Yeah, so there was a guy who on TikTok I did a thing about how I was going to be running. I wanted to run a group for a group of people. I wasn't. Hey, what's up? Wait a minute, gotta get my glasses on. There's somebody in chat. Diggs, by the way, how's it going, man? Now I don't think I recognize that name, but maybe you're somebody I know from Twitter. These glasses are not clean. They're a little clean. Diggs, yeah. You can let me know in a second whether I know you or not. But this is Around the Watch D&D talk is really mainly about me talking to people in chat about Dungeons and Dragons, just because I love D&D, and any subject. I usually have some kind of subject that I talk about in case no one shows up in chat. But the chat has priority. I really am on here just because I love D&D and I want to talk about D&D, but I'm not sure if you can hear me or not. I shall ask. Yeah. So anyway, going to a whole, like I said, our group, my Discord group is it's growing and it's moving beyond. It's moving into level 8 and moving beyond. Before, even though I've played D&D on and off since the 80s, I've really this is like my fourth campaign that like full blown campaign that I've ran. Let's see if he's even on here anymore. He may have left. Oh, I think he said hello and then left. There's another name in chat though. Let's see what that is. Ortholexi. Hello, Ortholexi, if you can hear me. Yeah. So, yeah. I've said this story before, but not everybody's heard it. When I was a kid, I'm older than I look. I'm 53, so I think I look a little bit younger than that, but it doesn't really matter. 50 is the new 40, right? And no, but really, I wanted to play in the 70s. I grew up with a really close brother that's 15 months younger than me. We're real close, but I wanted to play D&D so bad. And I just, my mom had some friends that used to play over the weekend, like just hours and hours and hours in his study or whatever. And I was really wanting to play, but I never got to play in the 70s. It wasn't until the early 80s that I was like, you know what? I don't hardly know anybody. I was a real shy kid. I was like, the only way I'm going to play D&D is if I run D&D. So because I wasn't a big reader, I got the basic rules and learned it. And then the expert rules, red box, blue box. And I ran a group for my brother, his girlfriend, and then my brother's best friend. And it was great. And then I fell in love with dungeon mastering. I love playing all the characters. I love creating the story. I love creating the world. I am a writer and a filmmaker, actually, not professionally. I have self-published a couple novellas and a poetry book and a fantasy. I have a fantasy novel that has to be edited better than it was before I publish it. But but I'm not one of these writers that writes gigantic books either, gigantic stories. That's why they were novellas. But anyway, kind of getting off track here. Yeah, so so we started playing. My first campaign I ran was in the 80s, and we probably only got up to like level 8 or level 9. I don't remember. It was so long ago. And then I didn't play for a long time. And then I was in a production of Hamlet. My brother wanted to be an actor, and I was shy as hell. He talked me into joining a community theater when I was a teenager, and it helped me with my shyness. So now I'm kind of like external, like internal. Got them both going. And it helped me, as far as that. And then, but I fell in love with theater, and so I mostly have just played like small parts. But my brother would play leads because he kind of wanted to do it. Just going a little off on a tangent here, but I do that sometimes. Just trying to figure out why the hell I bring up theater. Oh yeah, because I played. I had the Grand campaign in the early '80s, and we played for several years, and then. Didn't play for a long time, and then I was in a production of Hamlet where I hadn't done theater in like 10 years, and there was a guy in it. I don't know. I guess I mentioned something about D&D, and he said, "You play D&D?" And he found out I used to play D&D, and he asked me if I would run something, and so I created a second group in my late 20s, and it was interesting because that was a chaotic and/or evil group. Excuse me. So that was a lot of fun. I actually had an NPC paladin that was hunting them. And so that was my second campaign, and that was in the end of the 90s. And then didn't play for a while, but I played World of Warcraft from like 2006 to 2011, and a little bit more in 2014. But what happened is I don't know, somewhere along there I made a D&D Twitter account. I have a few Twitter accounts. I'm not on the other ones much, but I did create a D&D one. And then I got on it got back on it. I'd created it, but I'm not going into too much detail here. But I created I went onto my Dungeons & Dragons Twitter, and I found out about 5e, Dungeons & Dragons 5e. Because I did basic and expert, and then a buddy of mine gave up D&D and gave us his AD&D book, so I started weaving in AD&D rules to kind of add more depth to the rules. And and I bought the second edition books, never used them because I just kind of got away from D&D and kind of peeked at some of the other editions along the way and wasn't drawn to them. They weren't my I just wasn't drawn to some of the ways they were doing things. So I never got. I was just, when I'd go into a hobby store or whatever, just kind of peek at them, in between the 80s and 90s when I wasn't playing, or was it whenever those editions came out. You know what? The phone is ringing. Let me just step away for a minute. My brother usually calls me around this time, but anyway, yeah. So anyway, I came across the 5e rules. I also came across the Critical Role show, but this was in 2017. It was like I think they'd been on air a couple of years, and I liked the rules. And I didn't really watch the show at that point. Later, I kind of watched a bunch of the first campaign, and then was following Critical Role in the second campaign. Didn't always watch the whole shows. I usually watched the beginning because the actors were interacting as people and Sam was doing his ads, and sometimes we have it in the background, or sometimes it made us want to play our own campaign, so we turn it off. But then there were times where we were just exhausted and weren't playing our own campaign. It was just nice to watch somebody's campaign because really nice people, and Matt's was just a great Dungeon Master, so I enjoyed it because I don't watch a lot of streams. Anyway, let me see if anybody else come into chat. Okay. I was like making sure I turned on my mic again. Okay. Gowithim. Hello, Gowithim, if you can hear me. Just talking D&D. If you want to jump in at any point, I'm here to mostly talk to chat. So, but when I'm not talking to chat, just talking about D&D stuff. Yeah, so I like the 5e rules. I'd mainly been a Dungeon Master. I mean, I'd done a little D&D in between over the years that weren't campaigns of my nephew and things like that. Yeah, so I'm kind of going into my whole history here. I've mentioned this before in the other places and maybe even on here a little bit, but yeah, so I got the player's manual, asked somebody if they'd run a thing. I had a bunch of material, and he didn't have time to create material, so I gave him material. He altered it and ran a thing for us in 2017. That group was either good, not good, or anyway, it faded away. But during that, they talked. I had my girlfriend hanging out with me, she never was interested in D&D. I had her hang out with us when we played, though, because we did it online. And the rest of the group kept pushing for her to join, so she finally created a barbarian character, and she fell in love with D&D. So that campaign went away. I wasn't even counting that as one of the 4 that I ran. That was just when I was playing. And then in 2018, I got the D&D book for 5e, read all the sections that had to do with the rules because I knew how to DM. I just needed to know 5e stuff. And at some point, my girlfriend asked if I'd run a campaign for her. And so in 2018, early 2018, I started running a campaign, a 1-person campaign that has gone all the way through now. We don't play as much lately, but we did a lot for a while. She's level 26, about to be level 27. And then sometime later, she wanted to try Dungeon Mastering, but she said she didn't want to just run one person. So I reached out to someone who on my Twitter account that seemed like a really nice guy who was very supportive and enthusiastic about D&D, and we played with him for a couple of years, and we brought in a couple other people. Another guy that I get along really well with on D&D last few years, and his wife. They joined us, and then that group kind of everybody's schedules weren't quite working, so we were only playing every 5 or 6 weeks, and it finally one guy, the main guy that started with us, left, and then we just kind of haven't continued. That was Kate's campaign, but then. Yeah, see, now I'm getting confused. I said I think I ran 4 campaigns. So I wasn't playing enough D&D at some point. So I started a Twitter one where we were just messaging each other, but that got so people were there so much that I was like, wow, I need, you know. And then when somebody wasn't there, you know, it was like, I decided, you know what, I'm gonna do an online group. I never ran an online group before, and I created an online group with those people on Discord, and that explains my Sunday one. So anybody wants to hear all that stuff. So yeah, right now, where I'm at with different things is that I'm running the Discord group, and I've talked about how I'd like to do some live play on here. I've never done it, my girlfriend and I may do something at some point. We're back. She's very busy these days, but we did start talking about it again recently. So I'm hoping one of us will run the other one on here, and I'm not gonna do a full blown group, at least not on this original thing. Probably just run. I'll run her, or she'll run me, and maybe there's some people out there that will enjoy, even though it's only one player. It'll be a different thing, which is cool. And but I would like to get used to playing or DMing on Twitch anyway, because I'm not a kind of person who is really in front of the camera kind of. I mean, obviously I'm here. It's because I love D&D, and I don't know. I love Twitch. I think it's a really cool platform. But yeah, so hopefully, maybe, I know I've talked about this, and I'm doing this around the Watch D&D talk anyway, just because I love talking about D&D and I want to do stuff on here on Twitch. But I'm hoping my girlfriend and I at some point will actually do some live play. Yeah, so other than that, with her campaign, we played a few hours a month ago and a couple hours a couple days ago, and so just playing a little bit in that right now. We might start playing more. I don't know. I definitely want to be a player. I need to become a player in a group somewhere. I'm mainly Dungeon Master, but being in her campaign for 2 years as a player, Gaila gave me an opportunity. I know that people talk about being forever DMs. I really was a forever DM, but I have now shifted a little, where I have had an opportunity to be a player in her campaign for a couple of years, and I want to be a player again. I would love to be doing 3 campaigns, like the Discord one with her, whether it's our one that's 3 years old or it's the new one on Twitch, and then I'd like to do another one. I'm at some point going to be doing Cyberpunk. I think Cyberpunk campaign. I supported this Kickstarter about a year ago, and I think it was like about a year ago. And the books were supposed to come in early last year. Oh, so it must be 2 years ago. I'm trying to figure this out now. Maybe was it really 2 years ago? I don't know. Bottom line is the books were supposed to come out early this year. And because of pandemic and because of other things, this company, I know this company's not, I think they make really great products, but it seems like they don't have the easiest time with the logistics of running a company. I'm not trying to pick on anybody. I just know that, I don't think it's just pandemic. I think it's other things too. And I don't care. I knew that going in when I supported it, because I just wanted these books. So it's a cyberpunk thing. And I have never ran a campaign that wasn't Dungeons and Dragons. Dungeons and Dragons is my thing. But I am curious about cyberpunk. Especially when I bought it, when I ordered it, and when I expected it. I had planned the beginning of this year to start a campaign in that world. Now time's gone by, and reality, I got to feel like the real world is a lot more and more like this kind of futuristic kind of stuff. So it's almost like going to be like training for the future. not trying to be say that things are just going to get worse on this planet, but things are in a tough place right now, and there's a lot of people not seeing eye to eye, and there's just a lot of people, which has always been a reality. So so I want to keep this. Usually I keep these pretty short, but I haven't been on for I don't know, a couple weeks, 2 or 3 weeks. I have to check, but so I thought I would just say, yep. So doing the Discord, loving that campaign, loving how that's evolving, using books, bringing in a little bit of. I don't know if I've quite brought this into this Discord campaign. This is really for my online campaign that I was planning on using that book, but I'm slowly edging towards using that just because I want to use more than just the Monsters Manual. But I have been using this. I hadn't planned on using it in this campaign either, but I've been using it, and from Colwood, they make great stuff. And So that's good. Other than that, I did purchase the Witchlight book from Wizards of the Coast. Mainly because I've been wanting to do Fae stuff. I haven't done a lot in the Fae realm, and whether it's in my new live Twitch campaign that I have Fae stuff, or I've also been playing a little bit with my brother here and there, and I did a little Fae stuff there. Whatever, I felt that book could add some depth to anything that I do with Fae. And Wizards of the Coast, in my experiences, I've always written really amazing books. Yeah, so other than that, I would love if somebody ran me through Tomb of Annihilation. I bought this a long time ago. Never read it because I realized I might want to be a player. I haven't ran a... Even though I'm writing... That's the other thing I was going to mention. Even though I'm writing modules, not that often. I did the first one in 2019, and I have a second one that I'm just working on. That's I would love to get out this year, but I don't know if it's going to happen. Trying to make it happen. And it's a bigger book. It's a campaign setting in just a single plane. Yeah, but yeah, I would love to do Tomb of Annihilation. But whew, man, my brain's all over this morning. All right, I think I'm going to end this. It's probably the phone call that is supposed to come in, and I really appreciate you guys checking us out, checking me out, and I will be online again. And yeah, thanks again.